for U.S. Senate.
Thank you very much. What I thought I'd do, since I am new to politics, is give you a real quick background on myself, and then talk you through where I think we've gone wrong as a country, and then end with what I think is most important, which is how we get going in the right direction again. I grew up in Chester County, not too far from here. Went to Penn State, where I have an engineering degree. A couple years out of school, started a company called Mitos. And did anybody here get a flu shot this year? Did you raise your hand? Flu shots? Okay. We made the back-end systems that are used to manufacture a lot of the vaccines and biological drugs that are out there today. Didn't know any better as a 23-year-old, so I bootstrapped that business. I was so naive at the time, I actually thought banks lent money to entrepreneurs with an idea on a napkin. They didn't then, they certainly don't now. But I grew that into a global business over about a decade. And sold that a couple years ago to Parker Hannifin, still in Phoenixville today, and doing very well for one of the larger employers in Phoenixville. After I sold it, though, I realized I am an engineering geek. I love building products. I love seeing a need in the marketplace and building a product to fill that need. And I wanted to help others do what I had done. So I started a company called Dream It Ventures. And at Dream It, what we do is we help entrepreneurs in a very short, intense period of time take an idea on a napkin and turn it into a viable business. In the last 4 years alone, we've turned out 64 companies from that program. Been featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, USA Today as a new model for American innovation. And what you see from that, what you see from working with people that are starting a business from scratch, you see this government has taken that process, and it is a daunting process. Starting a business from scratch is tough, but they're making that difficult process darn near impossible. And as a father of 3 young children, I cannot sit around and watch them destroy this economy while at the same time piling mountains of debt on every man, woman, and child in this country. And that's why this election is so important. And I think that's why it's important that we come together, not just as a Republican Party, but as a conservative movement, because this election is critical, and don't fool yourselves. The other side is well organized. They are motivated, they are engaged, and they know what we know. This is the crossroads election. Too many of our citizens are unemployed, people are struggling to stay in their homes, and we see red ink as far as the eye can see in Washington. And when I look at Washington, I see career politicians that just don't have a clue. Just have absolutely no understanding of how this economy works. That has to change. It has to change now. And in Pennsylvania, we can make that change, because the road to the White House goes through Pennsylvania. We have an opportunity to end the Obama presidency. We have an opportunity to take Casey out and make sure the Republicans control the Senate. That is Pennsylvania's choice in this election. And there's going to be stark contrast. We're going to talk about our vision for America. The vision that empowers the American entrepreneurial spirit, allows people to use their God-given talents and creativity to go out and create products and services that people need in a process that raises the standard of living of all Americans. And we're going to contrast that with Bob Casey and Barack Obama's vision of a big government top-down theory. A theory that is proven ineffective. You look at the data. I mean, this is not me saying this. This is the data. Unemployment is up. It's up most among lower-income workers. Housing prices are down, mostly against low-income areas. Poverty is up. These are facts. They cannot hide from these facts. These policies hurt the very same people they claim to protect. We're going to talk about our vision of America, one that's responsible, one that lives up. Every generation that has come before us, they're given the next generation a country that's stronger than the one they inherited. And we're going to contrast that with Obama-Casey selfishness. It's pure selfishness of not being willing to make the tough decisions and mile mountains of debt in a process that will eventually bankrupt us and destroy the standard of living for every child in this country. And I will tell you, if you look back at Bob Casey, it's funny. I mean, if you go back and look at the videos of Bob Casey in 2006, it's actually quite comical. He talks about being fiscally conservative. He talks about balancing the budget. He actually said he was going to be an independent voice for Pennsylvania. This is a guy that has voted with the president 98% of the time. And I will not let him get away with telling the people of Pennsylvania he is an independent voice. He is nothing but a rubber stamp for this president and his big government agenda. And he's going to try to run as somebody he's not. But as I've said from the start, I'm going to run on who I am. And that's why I've been honest with the people in this room and across the state about my partisan past. Because I think it's really important as a party we acknowledge that in Washington, over the last decade, when we were in charge, we ran up the size of government. We abandoned our conservative principles. We let earmarks run out of control. We let corruption run rampant. And it hurt us. Not just as a country, it hurt us as a party. We lost hundreds of thousands of voters in this state alone because we didn't govern with our principles. And I was one of them. But I came running back. When I saw the agenda of Obama, Harry Reid, Bob Casey, Nancy Pelosi agenda, I came running back with a vengeance. And again, a commitment to make sure that we never abandon our principles again. The core, we need to make sure we don't just win elections, we need to make sure we win elections with candidates that will live up to the principles of this party. And I wasn't alone. What's exciting is when you look at the last election, you saw people getting engaged across this country for the first time. Gave rise to the great Tea Party movement, and in so many ways, elected Pat Toomey of the United States Senate, elected Tom Corden as governor, allowed us to win up and down the ticket. And we have to take that same fight with us in 2012 because the stakes are even higher. But I am committed. If we live to our principles of limited government, personal responsibility, fidelity to the Constitution, we will not only win in Pennsylvania, most importantly, we will instill our values in the White House and a new Republican-controlled majority. But I can't do it alone. No candidate can. I'm committed to fighting this battle with every fiber of my being between now and November 6th, but I need the help of every person in this room. I guarantee you, together, we can build a party. Together, we can win elections, but most importantly, together, as Patty said, we can win the hearts and minds of the people of Pennsylvania, which is the only way that we're going to move policy forward. And moving policy back to our original values is the only way we're going to get this country back on track and make sure that America continues to be the greatest country in the history of the world. Thank you and God bless.